When relentless criticism turns into a full-blown attack, Carrie Underwood stands her ground in the most unexpected way. From a small-town girl in Oklahoma to a global superstar, Carrie had built her career on talent, resilience, and grace. Her music spoke to millions, her voice a symbol of strength and perseverance. But nothing could have prepared her, or her fans, for what unfolded after a single performance that should have been a moment of celebration. She had been invited to perform the national anthem at the swearing-in ceremony of a newly elected official, a prestigious honor, one she approached with sincerity and professionalism. As she stepped onto the grand stage in Washington, D.C., with the Capitol gleaming behind her, all eyes were on her. Dressed in an elegant white gown, her blonde hair flowing over her shoulders, she stood poised and ready. The first notes rang out, and her voice filled the night air, powerful, unwavering. It was flawless. But perfection was not enough to shield her from what came next. By the next morning, the headlines were ablaze, not about her performance, but about her choice to be there at all. Political commentators wasted no time picking her apart. Some criticized the symbolism in her outfit, calling it a deliberate message. Others analyzed subtle changes in her rendition of the anthem, twisting them into accusations that she was making a political statement. Social media turned into a battleground, with hashtags exploding in both support and condemnation. For someone who had spent her career steering clear of political controversy, this was uncharted territory. Within hours, the backlash took on a life of its own. One clip in particular went viral, Carrie, finishing her performance, smiling, and shaking hands with the newly elected official. To some, it was a simple gesture of professionalism. To her critics, it was proof. Proof that she had aligned herself with the wrong side. A betrayal, they called it. Fans who once adored her questioned whether she had sold out her small-town values for political gain. Others accused her of using the moment as a publicity stunt. The noise was deafening, each news cycle amplifying the outrage. And yet, through it all, Carrie said nothing. She watched. She waited. And as it would later become clear, she was preparing. Because Carrie Underwood was not just a singer, she was a fighter. And what she did next would stun the nation. As the days passed, the backlash only grew louder. Every news channel, podcast, and online forum dissected her performance. Every detail, her expression, her body language, even the way she held the microphone, was analyzed and debated. Late-night hosts mocked her. Political pundits accused her of choosing a side. A popular talk show played the clip of her handshake on a loop, with the host sneering, "Is this the face of a neutral artist?" The audience laughed, feeding the narrative that Carrie's performance was not about patriotism, it was about politics. But Carrie did not flinch. She absorbed every jab, every headline, every attempt to twist the truth. She waited. And when the time was right, she struck back. Another television host took the attack even further, dissecting lyrics from one of Carrie's older songs, twisting their meaning to suggest that she had always harbored certain political leanings. The accusations grew more outlandish. Soon, some commentators were even questioning her faith, something that had always been central to her identity. The public was anything but passive. Online forums and comment sections became war zones. Supporters defended her authenticity, while critics called for boycotts of her music. Hashtags flooded social media, hashtag Underwood exposed, hashtag Carrie cancelled, and hashtag Carrie stands strong, each reflecting the deep divide in public opinion. But the television networks were not content with just discussion. They escalated. They brought in experts, body language analysts, political commentators, media strategists, to pick apart every detail of her performance. Every smile, every glance, every note she sang was dissected. Their broadcasts blurred the line between criticism and defamation, with thinly veiled accusations that her performance was a calculated stunt, meant to push a hidden agenda. And yet, through it all, Carrie remained silent. To some, her silence was a sign of guilt. To others, it was proof of her grace under fire. But what no one knew was that Carrie and her team had been watching, documenting, preparing. Because when Carrie Underwood finally broke her silence, she did not do it through a press release. She did not do it through an interview. She did it with a lawsuit, one that would shake the entertainment industry to its core. Carrie's legal team filed a defamation lawsuit against the network airing the attacks, naming the hosts individually. The suit was direct and damning. It alleged that their commentary had crossed the line from critique to outright falsehoods, damaging her reputation and causing professional and emotional harm. The legal document left no room for doubt. It outlined specific segments where hosts intentionally misrepresented her handshake with the official, turning a simple gesture into a fabricated political statement. It highlighted how they manipulated her faith, portraying her as a hypocrite to stir public outrage. And the most shocking revelation? Carrie's team had emails, internal messages from the show's producers, leaked during the lawsuit's discovery process. These emails proved that the narrative had been manufactured, that producers had instructed their team to frame her performance as political, regardless of Carrie's actual intent. The moment the lawsuit was filed, the media erupted. Suddenly, the same networks that had torn her apart were now scrambling to cover the lawsuit, dissecting its legal implications. For Carrie's fans, it was a moment of vindication. Finally, one fan wrote on social media. "She's standing up for herself. They can't just tear people down without consequences." But not everyone was in her corner. Critics lashed out, calling the lawsuit an attack on free speech. The same television hosts who had accused her of hypocrisy now claimed they were the victims, arguing that Carrie was trying to silence the press. "This is nothing but a desperate attempt to shut down the truth," one host scoffed on air. But Carrie did not waver. In a brief statement, she made her stance clear. "This is not about silencing opinions," she said. "It is about accountability. Words have power. And with power comes responsibility." The lawsuit sent shockwaves through the entertainment world. News anchors, legal experts, and cultural commentators debated endlessly, was this a bold stand for accountability? Or a dangerous precedent for media freedom? But while the public argued, the real battle was just beginning. Inside the courtroom, the stakes could not have been higher. On the first day of trial, the courtroom was packed, journalists, fans, legal experts, all eager to witness what was shaping up to be a defining case for media ethics. Carrie walked in, her posture poised, steady, unshaken. This was not a stage she was used to, but she carried herself with the same confidence that had propelled her to the top of the music industry. The legal battle was anything but simple. Carrie's lawyers did not waste time, they came prepared with evidence. Clips of the television segments were played one by one, each one exposing how the hosts went beyond harsh critique and into character assassination. What had once sounded like opinion pieces now played back like coordinated attacks, with hosts twisting narratives, pushing false implications, painting Carrie as someone she was not. The defense fired back. Their attorneys argued First Amendment protections, claiming that their remarks were opinions, not statements of fact. "We have the right to criticize public figures," one lawyer declared. Carrie Underwood is no exception. But Carrie's team was ready for this. Then came the leaked emails. Emails between producers of the show, obtained during legal discovery, proved that the network deliberately pushed the narrative for ratings. The courtroom buzzed as the emails were read aloud. Messages from producers showed clear directives: turn Carrie's performance into a political controversy, keep the debate alive, frame her in a way that would generate outrage. It did not matter what she actually meant. The moment the emails were made public, murmurs rippled through the room. Then, Carrie took the stand. She spoke with quiet determination, her voice steady but filled with emotion. "I have spent my entire career trying to bring people together through music," Carrie said, looking directly at the jury. "But these false accusations have tried to define me in ways that are not true, and they have hurt not just me, but my family." Her voice wavered slightly as she described how the relentless attacks had affected her children, how they could not understand why their mother was being torn apart on television, why people they had never met were calling her names and questioning her character. The courtroom was silent, the weight of her words settling over everyone present. Then came the final piece of evidence, the moment that changed everything. Carrie's lawyer stood, holding a small device. "We would like to present new evidence," he announced. The judge gave a nod, and the audio recording began to play. The secretly recorded conversation between two of the show's producers crackled to life. One voice, unmistakably belonging to a producer, spoke bluntly. "We had to push it. The controversy sells." A pause. Then, the second producer responded. "Yeah, we may have exaggerated a few things, but that is what keeps people watching." The recording ended, but its impact lingered like a bomb that had just detonated in the room. Gasps rippled through the audience. The judge called for order, banging his gavel as the defense scrambled to recover. But it was too late. The momentum had shifted. Even those who had been skeptical of Carrie's case could not ignore what had just been revealed. It was not just commentary. It was manipulation. Outside the courthouse, the divide in public opinion had never been more apparent. Would the jury see this as a clear case of defamation? Or would they still side with the hosts, defending their words under freedom of speech? The answer was just around the corner. As the trial neared its conclusion, the case had exploded beyond just Carrie Underwood. News networks on both sides of the political spectrum dissected every piece of testimony, every twist and turn. Social media was in chaos. Supporters flooded Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, posting messages of encouragement with hashtags like #StandWithCarrie and #TruthMatters. "This is not just about her," one fan wrote. "It is about how we let the media treat people. She is fighting for something bigger." But her critics were just as loud. They accused Carrie of trying to silence the press, claiming the lawsuit would set a dangerous precedent. "If public figures can sue every time they get criticized," one commentator argued, "where does it end? This could shut down free speech." But this was not just about Carrie anymore. The leaked emails and recorded conversation had ignited a much larger debate, one about the ethics of modern media. Panels of journalists argued over the fine line between fair commentary and targeted defamation. Public figures came forward with their own experiences of being misrepresented, further fueling the conversation. Even in everyday places, coffee shops, workplaces, family dinners, people were talking about it. Some sympathized with Carrie, seeing her as a victim of unfair public scrutiny. Others worried about the legal precedent. Would media outlets now be afraid to criticize celebrities? But through all the noise, Carrie stayed quiet. She appeared at court calm, composed, refusing to engage in a public battle. She let the evidence speak for itself. And it only made the public more captivated by the trial. Now, it all came down to one final moment. The courtroom was silent as the jury returned. Carrie sat still, her hands folded in her lap, waiting. The foreperson stood, unfolding the verdict slip. "We find in favor of the plaintiff, Carrie Underwood." The words landed like a shockwave. Carrie remained poised, but the slight rise of her shoulders, as if exhaling for the first time in weeks, betrayed the enormous weight she had been carrying. The jury had determined that the hosts and their network had crossed the line. That their reckless disregard for the truth had defamed Carrie Underwood. Damages were awarded in the millions. Not just as compensation, but as a clear statement: there are consequences for reckless media attacks. Outside the courthouse, the public reaction was swift and loud. Supporters of Carrie celebrated the verdict as a triumph for fairness and integrity. "This is not about silencing criticism," one fan posted. "It is about drawing a line when that criticism turns into harmful lies." Others saw it as a long overdue reckoning for sensationalist media, praising Carrie for standing up not just for herself but for everyone who had ever been wrongfully dragged through the mud by misleading headlines. On the other hand, critics condemned the decision as a chilling blow to free speech. Opinion pieces questioned what this ruling would mean for journalists, especially those who cover public figures. Some of the accused hosts remained defiant, announcing they would appeal the decision, but their reputations had already taken a serious hit. For Carrie, the victory was bittersweet. In an emotional statement outside the courthouse, she addressed her supporters, her voice steady despite the weight of the moment. "This was never about silencing anyone," she said. "It was about truth. Words matter, and they have real consequences. I hope this case reminds everyone in the media to choose them wisely." She spoke about the toll the trial had taken, not just on her, but on her family. There were moments she had wanted to walk away, to let the storm pass, but she stayed the course, knowing that this fight was bigger than just her name. "This was not just about clearing my reputation," she continued. "It was about reminding all of us that accountability matters, no matter how powerful the platform." In the months that followed, the case left a lasting impact. Media organizations began re-evaluating their editorial policies, suddenly more cautious about the lines they were willing to cross. For fans and everyday viewers, the trial served as a wake-up call, a reminder that there are real people behind the headlines, and that ethical journalism matters. Carrie's battle had been hard-fought, but it sent an undeniable message: standing up for yourself, even in the face of overwhelming criticism, can lead to meaningful change. Her journey was not just about winning a legal battle, it was about reclaiming dignity and truth in a world that often sacrifices them for the sake of controversy. Her story serves as a reminder that while public figures are constantly scrutinized, they are still human beings who deserve respect and fairness. This case also underscores a deeper truth for all of us: words have power. Whether spoken on national television, typed in a tweet, or whispered in a private conversation, the things we say carry weight. They can lift someone up or tear them down, sometimes with consequences far greater than we anticipate. Carrie's fight challenges us to be more thoughtful in how we engage with others, especially in an era where it is easier than ever to spread opinions without considering their impact. It is a call to hold both the media and ourselves accountable for the narratives we create and consume. As we reflect on Carrie's resilience, let us remember the importance of standing up for what is right, even when the odds feel insurmountable. Whether it is protecting your reputation, defending your values, or seeking justice, staying true to yourself is always worth it. And if her story moved you, inspired you, or made you think differently, consider joining the conversation. Subscribe to our channel for more stories that challenge the norm, spark important discussions, and remind us of the power of truth. Let us keep this dialogue going. Together, we can make a difference. Because in the end, this is not just about what happened to Carrie, it is about what we all can learn from it.